In June 1982, Israel sent 100,000 troops into Lebanon. The stated reason was retaliation for an assassination attempt on Israel's ambassador in London, an attack carried out by Abu Nidal, a faction the PLO had expelled. Israel advanced to Beirut, sieged the western half of the capital for 10 weeks, and killed an estimated 15,000 civilians. The PLO withdrew. International guarantees were given that the civilians left behind would be protected. 3 weeks later, Israeli forces surrounded the Sabra neighborhood and Shatila refugee camp, illuminated the perimeter with flares through the night, and allowed their allied Phalangist militia inside. Between 2,000 and 3,500 civilians were killed over 60 hours. Israel's own Commission of Inquiry found that Defense Minister Ariel Sharon bore personal responsibility. He later became Prime Minister. Israel withdrew from most of Lebanon in 1985, but kept a self-declared security zone in the south for another 15 years. That occupation produced the resistance movement that had not existed before. Hezbollah was a consequence of Israel's presence, not the reason for it. When Israel finally left in 2000, it was not through negotiation. It was because the occupation had become too costly. 6 years later, following a cross-border Hezbollah raid that killed 3 Israeli soldiers and captured 2 more, Israel launched another war.
هذا النصر نقدمه لشعبنا المظلوم في فلسطين المحتلة ولشعوب أمتنا العربية والإسلامية.
34 days, more than 1,000 Lebanese civilians killed, and Hezbollah was still standing. When Hamas attacked on October 7, 2023, Hezbollah opened a second front the following morning. A low-level war ran for almost a year. Then on September 17, 2024, thousands of pagers used by Hezbollah members exploded simultaneously across Lebanon. The devices had been purchased through a supply chain that Israeli intelligence had penetrated and packed with explosive material during manufacturing. When the signal came, pagers detonated in pockets, in hands, in crowded markets. 12 killed, 2,700 wounded, including civilians, including Iran's ambassador to Lebanon, who lost the use of both eyes. The following day, walkie-talkies exploded. 30 more killed. Within a week, Israeli airstrikes killed nearly 500 people in a single day. Hezbollah's senior command was systematically eliminated. On September 27th, F-15s dropped American-supplied bunker busters on a residential district in southern Beirut. Hassan Nasrallah, Secretary General for 32 years, was killed. Iran moved its supreme leader to a secure location. Ground forces entered Lebanon on October 1st. By the ceasefire on November 27th, nearly 4,000 Lebanese had been killed, more than 1 million displaced. The ceasefire required Israeli withdrawal within 60 days. That deadline passed. Israeli troops remained at 5 positions inside Lebanese territory, and near-daily drone strikes continued. Vehicles, motorcycles, warehouse workers. Over 300 Lebanese were killed after the ceasefire was supposed to end the war. Each of those campaigns ran on a structural constant: unconditional American backing, weapons, money, and political cover at the UN. Then on June 2nd, 2026, U.S. President Donald Trump called Benjamin Netanyahu during an active Israeli offensive against Lebanon and called him crazy. Israel's escalation was threatening to collapse Trump's negotiations with Iran, and for the first time in 4 decades, an American president chose the Iran deal over Netanyahu's operation in Lebanon. Netanyahu said Israel would continue striking southern Lebanon regardless. It will.
יחד עם שר הביטחון, הנחיתי את צה"ל לתקוף מטרות טרור בביירות. לא יהיה מצב שחיזבאללה תוקף את ערינו ואת אזרחינו, מפקדות הטרור שלו בביירות, בדחיה, יישארו מחוץ לתחום.
A U.S.-Iran deal is not the safeguard Lebanon needs against continued Israeli aggression. It is a separate transaction between two larger powers in which Lebanon has no seat and no voice. What Lebanon is left with is what it has always been left with: the next ceasefire, which Israel is already violating, and the next attack, which is already underway.